Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling, and much appreciated you guys coming by the channel to check today's video out because we're going to be talking about the best lures for the month of December today. I've got 5 that I picked out here that pretty much work all over the country really good in the month of December. Going to give you guys a little bit of tips and advice on how to fish them and the conditions that they work best in today's video. Also, guys, before we get started, I want to remind you, since we're getting into winter now, December, I'd like to invite you to please swing by and check out my Fish the Moment lake map breakdowns that I build for Fish the Moment. These will be great resources, guys, to give you some good winter spots on your favorite lakes around the country. So I'll put the Fish the Moment lake map breakdown link in the description for my maps that I build for Fish the Moment. Really appreciate that, checking those things out. Okay, like anything else, there's not going to be 5 best lures that work everywhere in the country because, you know, if you guys fish in Florida, it's going to be completely different than if you fish, you know, in Tennessee. But overall, I want to talk about sort of like the best lures for typical man-made impoundments across the country that have some type of variation in seasonal different weather changes and significant seasonal changes in water temperature specifically that put fish into a winter pattern. Now, one of the things about December, it's like December, you consider it, since it's Christmas and traditionally you see snow for Christmas. Not so much anymore, guys, because everybody knows that has really followed fishing for the last 40 years. Our temperatures are getting warmer all the time with different type of climate change situations. So we consistently have warmer water every single year. Like right now in Missouri, we still have water temperatures 60 degrees and it's almost December, and that's sort of the new norm. So our patterns are changing as well as far as the techniques and things that work in the month in December. So what I have found in my own fishing over about the past 5 or 10 years specifically is a lot of the best techniques for the month of December were previously really good techniques for like October and November. All has to do with water temperature. So given that, you know, my selection's a little bit different than probably what a lot of other people are. So anyway, let's go through the ones that I suggest here, the best ones that are going to work for you guys. Now the first one, and a lot of this depends on different type of water clarities you have, but the first one, guys, is a small swim bait. This is the Megabass Spark Shad 3-inch with the Megabass okashira jighead. Any type of a small little swim bait, 2.5, 3 inches is going to be really good. And also, guys, I'll link every one of these lures in my Tackle Warehouse description in the video if you guys would like to pick some up and use that link. It's a good way to help the channel. But these little swim baits are deadly starting in the month of December if you have water visibilities that are over 3.5 or 4 feet. So this is going to be for more of a clean water situation. If you do have water visibilities of around 4 feet or greater, fishing this little 1/8 ounce head, these little bitty swim baits on 6 to 8 pound test fluorocarbon. One of my favorite ways to catch them in the month of December is just to get out on any type of a secondary point, main lake point, a fan cast this thing in and around, you know, 10 to 20 foot of water, depending upon your water clarity. It's a really good way to catch them. And sorry if I'm a little hoarse. I got some type of sinus allergy deal going on. I've been hacking and coughing a little bit. But fishing this thing around any type of point is a really good way to catch them, especially if you have a mixed species lake. So the little swim bait is going to work the best the more that you have a diversity of bass. So if you have a lake that has a mix of largemouth, spotted bass, and smallmouth, you're going to have a lot more fish using that type of water than you would if you just have a straight largemouth lake. Prime example is if you fish, you know, Lake Eufaula in Alabama. This is not going to be as good as if you're fishing like Lake Cumberland in Kentucky, something like that. Good example for it. Okay, the next one that works really good, and this is something that's I have noticed a trend in it the last 3 or 4 years. Didn't used to be like this. Is they crankbait like a wigglewort or a rock crawler. Now this is a really good bait to throw in the month of December, and normally this bait was associated with pre-spawn fishing. But again, as long as our water temperatures are staying in the 50s and 60s, they bite these things really good. In fact, here in Missouri, this is one of the best ways to catch them right now in the month of November and December is a wigglewort or a rock crawler. Difference between the two, guys, not much of a difference. The wigglewort's got a little bit wider wobble, doesn't run quite as deep as the rock crawler, but some people are fans of wigglewort, some people are fans of a rock crawler, just sort of 50-50 there. But type of areas you want to fish them on are channel banks. So one of my favorite ways to fish that crankbait this time of year is I'll go back in the major creek arms and I'll get on the bluffy or the channel type banks, make a long parallel cast down those rocky banks with it. It's a really good way to catch them. Okay, the next thing along with that same type of area as far as channel banks and bluff is a jig, specifically a brown with a blue chunk on it. This is my Blaukat throwback jig, 3/8 ounce. I'll link it in the description here. And there's something about the month of December that the brown jig with a blue chunk, this is the Zoom big salty chunk on it, is a really good bait to throw in December. And so one of the things I'll do with it is if I go fishing in December and I'm throwing a wiggle wart or a rock crawler, I'll get on those same channel banks with my throwback jig and cast that jig right up to those steep banks and work it down into that, 4 to 15 foot of water, depending upon the water visibility there. But this is a really good way to catch them in December. And I don't know what it is. There's something about this color combination, guys. They really like it in December. Brown with a blue chunk on it. Okay, the next one, guys, and this is, again, if you have water temperatures that are anywhere between like 55 to 65 degrees, is burning a spinnerbait. This is the Megabass SV3 small bladed spinnerbait. And you guys hear me talk a lot about this in fall fishing, and it extends into December. So if you have water, ideally, I like water temperatures in the upper 50s for this, which you have in a lot of the lakes across the country in December. Take this little SV3 and basically fish it on any type of windy bank. Windy points, windy rocky banks, windy clay banks, anywhere where you have wind hitting the bank. If you have water visibility over about 3 feet, this is a great way to catch them. And also concentrate on shade. If you have a sunny or partly cloudy day, focus on getting it early in the morning, late in the evening, shady banks. It's probably the best in cloudy, rainy, overcast days. But just throw it on those windy banks, keep your rod tip high, and just burn it like that far into the surface. Don't break the surface with the blades, but keep the spinnerbait in sight. Really good way to catch them in December. And finally, guys, you can't talk about December fishing without starting. The old favorite is a jerkbait. Megabass Vision 110. I do go to a smaller jerkbait in January, but in December I still use the 110 size. And same type of deal, guys. Windy banks is going to be really good with it. Points, bluff banks, over the top of grass beds if you have those. But as that water temperature starts getting into the 50s, you can't beat the jerkbait in the month of December. So anyway, guys, I'll link everything in the description. I think you guys will catch some fish on these baits if you try them out like I described there. And we'll talk later. See you guys.